can make you dance. We can make you dance.
The clear can be a high defensive shot to push your opponent to the back and give you time. It can be a flat attacking shot to get the shuttle behind your opponent. The clear is played from your own rear court to the rear court of your opponent. Top singles players must have superb control of the depth and trajectory of the clear. This comes through with practice, practice, and even more practice. Start with the split step, time to land just after your opponent's hit. Turn and approach the rear court, establishing a sideways stance. Begin to elevate the front arm, take the racket back with the racket face downwards using a relaxed forehand grip. Create a position with the shoulder and elbows in a line, looking over the front arm. The rear foot is placed well back, parallel to the back line, and the rear leg is loaded. Drive the hip upwards and forwards, making contact with the shuttle above the racket shoulder, tightening your grip as you do so. Also notice the pulling in of the front arm to control the rotation of the body. Land with a wide stance and the rear foot turned out, back foot, then front foot in quick succession. Supination and pronation of the forearm is vital for efficient hitting in badminton. This yellow line indicates supination, and this yellow line represents pronation. All forehand overheads, including the clear, involve supination of the forearm on the back swing and pronation of the forearm on the forward swing.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
A good length in a singles game is the hardest thing to do. If you master a good length in a singles court, I think you pretty much you can compete with the best in the world. Because I think you're moving the opponent the extra step. The shorter you hit it, the shorter they move, and the less energy they're using. So the better your length is, the more they're moving, and you obviously conserve energy and everything. So definitely better length.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
A good defence is vital. The more courts you can cover, the longer you can stay in a rally.
And that will certainly help their cause.
The aim is to return the shuttle that has been smashed at you high into the back of the opponent's court. Although most top players prefer to defend backhand, sometimes you will have to use forehand defence. It's important that when this happens, you are confident of getting it back. Split step. When possible, step forwards to meet the shuttle. The racket head moves momentarily outside the line of the shuttle. Using a relaxed forehand grip, supinate the forearm on the backswing. Tighten the grip on impact, hits through the shuttle and pronate a relaxed forearm. Bend the legs as the shuttle approaches and straighten to power the hit. Note the bent wrist position as the racket hand goes forwards to strike the shuttle. Play it well and you force your opponent right back.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
Attitude. Positive attitude. Because I regard that as a skill, and some people haven't got that skill. And if you haven't got that skill, then all the others, physique, speed, tactical awareness, technique, probably won't matter, because you won't be able to sustain the level of training required if you haven't got that positive attitude.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
Hit this shot into the space at the side of the court to outmaneuver your opponent.
Yes, nicely done.
Or simply belt it at them to cramp their style.
Yes. They close it out quite brilliantly.
The forehand drive is played from mid-court to mid-court with a flat trajectory. Start with a split step timed just after your opponent's hit. Then lunge positively to the side or forwards towards the shuttle with the knee and foot in alignment. The upper arm rotates backwards. Use a relaxed forehand grip or slight panhandle. A small angle is created between the racket and the supinated forearm in order to generate racket head speed. The angle between the racket and arm increases as the player reaches for the shuttle. The forearm pronates on the forward swing. Pronation continues as the racket arm relaxes.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
Like they say, practice makes perfect, and I do believe that. I tell people that who I coach that, you know, if you want to get better, if you want your shots to be better, it's just practice, and it's amazing how quickly you'll improve. It's good fun practicing as well. You know, you can go down with your mates or join a club. It's a good social atmosphere, and you're playing a sport, getting fit, and, you know, learning a new skill at the same time.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
The forehand drop shot can look like a clear or a smash, but it's hit much more softly. The clue is in the sound. Pull all your opponents out of position and you are in charge of the rally. The drop shot is hit from your rear court into the opponent's forecourt. It brings them forward, leaving space at the back that you can exploit. The drop shot is used in singles and doubles, and when played well, is a great way to pressure your opponent's movement skills. Really good players disguise the drop shot, making it even harder to return. Start with a split step, landing just after your opponent's hit. Begin to elevate the forearm and take the racket back with the face downwards using a relaxed forehand grip. Create a position with the shoulder and elbows in a line, looking over the front arm. Use a wide side-on stance and push off with the rear leg to drive the hip upwards and forwards. The body rotates forwards to the hit, which is above the shoulder, with the racket face parallel to the net. As with the clear, the elbow isn't locked out and there is an angle between the racket and the forearm. After impact, the racket arm relaxes off and pronation continues as a result of racket head momentum. Good players can add slice and hit cross-court to really pressure the opponent.
I'd say to enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, then you don't perform to your best of your ability. So I would say, I've enjoyed it all along. Really, yeah. There's been a few bad spells where you're not playing so well, but at the end of the day, I just enjoy it.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
The clue is in the name. Use this shot to kill off a rally.
Oh, well played. Stretches forward to the net to make the kill.
The forehand net kill is played from the forecourt to the midcourt of the opponent. The aim is to finish the rally. The kill shots require you to be aggressive. Reach the shuttle as early as possible and put it away. Many players swing wildly at a kill, and this can send the shuttle out or into the net. Good technique will help ensure that your kills don't come back. Start with a split step, time to land just after your opponent's hit. Lunge positively, the racket foot landing with or just after impact. The rear foot is turned out. Supinate the forearm and establish a relaxed, slightly panhandle grip on the backswing. Tighten the grip and pronate the forearm on the forward swing. Have a bent elbow and wrist at the end of the backswing. Reach out and tap the shuttle down on the forward swing.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
Technique is sort of the groundwork of the whole badminton game. If you are brought up with a very good technique, there's no reason why, if you mentally want to train hard, then you can't reach a very high level. But if you're taught a wrong technique at an early age, it's almost impossible then to teach it out of your own game, because it's sort of a natural thing and you'll always go to what you naturally know. So technique is basically the most important thing.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
Lift to gain time and put your opponent under pressure in the rear court.
A step, the body language telling the story.
The forehand net lift is played from your forecourt into the opponent's rear court. Start with a split step, timed just after your opponent's hit. A relaxed forehand grip with the racket head above the hand on approach. Make a positive lunge with the rear heel slightly raised. Push the hand forwards and supinate the forearm. Create a large angle at the elbow and a small angle at the bent wrist. Tighten the grip on impact, hit through the shuttle, allowing the racket momentum to pronate through. Slide in with the non-racket foot and chasse in recovery.
Lindan really had pulled his opponent out of position.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
I think it's invaluable to have the coach standing on the side, making sure, because they can see from a different perspective. Obviously, we can tell how it feels to us on court, but the coach can actually have a look at you and say, I think this could be improved, or it's not just techniques that will make you play better. It's reducing injuries, making sure that you're moving and hitting in the correct way, so you're not going to get injured, and they're just looking out for the athlete's well-being.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
Use this shot to force your opponent to lift, or even to win the rally.
But that is incredible. skill. Spinning the shuttle from so low down.
The net shot is played from your forecourt into your opponent's forecourt. Net shots require a great deal of touch. The more you practice, the better feel you will get. Good players often spin the shuttle to make it harder to return. Start with a split-step time to land just after your opponent's hit. Positive lunge to the net, racket foot and knee aligned. The rear foot will be at an angle to help protect the knee joint. Present the racket face to the shuttle. Bend the wrist back, allowing the racket head to position itself below the hand. Reach forward, but don't lock out the elbow. And push the shuttle over the net.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
Deception is one of the key areas when you're playing badminton, because when the opponent is pretty the same similar standard, then you have to work around that and try to fool your opponent. So deception is a key area.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
Yes, and the attacking play now. Superb. Yes, great placement of the smash from Robertson.
The smash is played from the rear court down into the opponent's mid-court. The smash is the fastest shot in racket sports. They have been timed at over 200 miles per hour. The jump smash is the shot in badminton. Use a sideways stance with the rear foot back and parallel to the back line. The stance should be wide. Using a relaxed forehand grip, bring the racket back with the strings facing downwards. Elevate the non-racket arm for balance. Create a position with the shoulder and elbows in a line, looking over the front arm. Load the rear leg muscles to generate power. Drive through, hip first, then the body, hitting the shuttle in front of you. Land with a wide stance, non-racket foot, then racket foot in quick succession, and recover.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
You get the basic shots like a smash, a lift, clear, drop shots like that. But obviously on each of those shots, there's, for example, if you take a drop shot, you could play it in 4 or 5 different ways. You could play a slice drop shot, a reverse drop shot, a check drop. You know, it's quite a complex sport, and that once you've learned the basics, then you must progress on to the more complex shots in order to achieve success.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
The backhand clear is used to get you out of trouble and put your opponent to the back when you can't play a forehand. The clear is played from your own rear court to the rear court of your opponent. The backhand clear is often thought of as a tough shot to play, but the best way to do it is focus on getting the technique right and relax when you play it. If you are too tense, this will limit your ability to generate power, as the shot requires a flowing movement. Split, chasse and turn. Keep an angle between the racket and arm for more racket head speed. Keep the elbow well below the racket. Lunge or semi-lunge into the backhand corner. Use a backhand overhead grip and pronate the forearm on the backswing. Supinate the forearm and hit with a rebound action. Note the large angle between the arm and racket as the player reaches for the shuttle, and the slightly bent elbow to protect the joint and create power. The striking point is slightly behind or to the side of the player. Turn back out quickly to prepare for the next shot.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
We tend to, we don't, for my mind, I think in England we don't concentrate on that much on the youngsters learning the footwork and the technique, but I think something that fitness and things can come later on, but technique are hard to come by. So I would say, yeah, technique should be the first thing that kids should learn, yeah, definitely, to improve later on in the game, yeah.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
The backhand drop shot is used when you're under such pressure in the rear court that you can't play a forehand. It brings your opponent forward and gets you back in the rally.
Oh, it's a lovely smash.
The backhand drop shot is hit from your rear court into the opponent's forecourt. It brings them forward, leaving space at the back that you can exploit. At the top level, the backhand drop is seen more often in singles than doubles. It's a great shot for getting out of trouble when you've been outmanoeuvred. A good drop can reduce your opponent's attacking options and can pressure their movement. split step, then chassé and start to turn. Note the small angle between the racket and the forearm. On approach, the elbow is kept well below the racket's head. Use a backhand overhead grip. Lunge or semi-lunge into the backhand corner. On the backswing, the elbow rises and the racket head drops. This rotates the upper arm inwards and pronates the forearm. On the forward swing, rotate the upper arm outwards and supinate the forearm to create a pulling action on the shuttle. Impact can be to the side, but is usually behind the body. Here the point of impact is quite low. If possible, take the shuttle higher. Note the bent wrist on impact, which angles the racket head downwards. The more under pressure you are, the more you need to make turning back to face the net part of the shot. You can improve the speed of this turn by placing the foot down prior to the shuttle impact when under pressure.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
There's a lot of different training because badminton isn't specific to either running, cycling or any training you can do. We have to do a lot of on-court work because the movement's so important, and if you've got economical movement it makes the game so much easier. And it's a lot of technique also. We spend a lot of time playing the same shot over and over again so you get the perfect technique so you can rely on that in pressure situations.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
The forehand high serve is used more in singles than doubles. A good high serve forces your opponent right to the back of the court. The aim of the forehand high serve is to get the shuttle dropping directly on the back line in your opponent's service box. You should aim for both depth and height, as this means the shuttle cannot be intercepted. Using a forehand grip and a high racket carriage, take a balanced stance close to the centre of the court. Weight transfers from the back foot to the front foot, and the racket hip begins to move forward. The arm supinates in the backswing and the wrist is bent back. The wrist begins to straighten as you strike the shuttle hard. Hit through the shuttle, then allow the racket momentum to pronate a relaxed forearm on the follow-through. Note that impact takes place in front and out to the side of the body. Be alert for the next shot.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance. We can make you dance. We can make you dance.
The forehand low serve is used a lot in singles. A good low serve forces your opponent to hit upwards and give you the opportunity to attack. The aim of the forehand low serve is to land the shuttle in the front of the opponent's service box, bringing your opponent forward and trying to force a lift. The key is to get the shuttle to travel low over the net so that it can't be attacked. Honing your technique will help you to play the shot well, even under the pressure of a crucial point in a match. Using a forehand grip with a high racket carriage, take a balanced stance close to the centre of the court. Weight transfers from the back foot to the front foot, and the racket hip begins to move forward. The arm supinates in the backswing and the wrist is bent back. The wrist remains bent back on impact. After impact, the forearm pronates as the follow-through is completed. Note that impact takes place in front and to the side of the body. Remember to look for the next shot.
We can make you dance. We can make you dance.